All right, so to start, the election campaign was highly polarized and often framed as a choice about Armenia's geopolitical future. So, in your view, what were the most important issues at stake, and what do these results mean for Armenia's future?
Well, I guess you have read the OSCE ODIHR report regarding our elections, the preliminary report. So I wouldn't frame it like that because ruling party is was trying to make these elections as a geopolitical choice, but they are not honest. They are pretending to bring a European future to Armenia, but in reality, it's a Turkish future. You see, in the end, geography wins. Armenia has no borders with the European Union. There are two candidate states that we have borders with. One is Turkey and the other one is Georgia. Well, Turkey has the candidate status for, I guess, more than 10 years. In case of Georgia, we all know what's the situation at the moment, firstly. Secondly, um, to just to clarify, I'm the representative of the party that negotiated and signed the SIPA agreement with the European Union. We are proud members of the EPP, and we do know what it means, European values, European reforms, etc. But speaking about the SIPA agreement was done only 50% during these years, and this year is the last year of this phase. So I don't believe that Pashinyan is a pro-European candidate. I do believe that Pashinyan will be able to serve to any geopolitical center that will guarantee the prolongation of him staying in power. So, first of all, Pashinyan is not saying the truth. It is not Europe versus, I don't know, Russia or something like that. Pashinyan is trying just to sell a few things to remain in power. So, no, I don't think that the geopolitics or geopolitical choice was the main issue of this campaign in reality, in its core, but it was presented like that, but it's not like that.
Still, I think the relationship, especially also with Russia, played an important role during the election. So,
Or
how should Armenia's relationship with Russia evolve in the coming years, also in regard with balancing the relationship to maybe Europe and Russia?
well, once again, I will be out of office on the 2nd of August, but my understanding and understanding of my party is the following. Russia is the strategic ally of the Republic of Armenia. It's written like that by law. Just to remind you, 3 years ago, the spokesman of the parliament, the speaker of the parliament from the Pashinyan's party, Mr. Alen Simonyan, stated, and I quote, that their government is the most pro-Russian government in the history of the modern Armenia. I literally quote. So, when it comes to the foreign relations of my country, I would frame it like that. You know, when two elephants are fighting, you never know which elephant will win. But one thing is for sure, the place where this fight is going to happen, the arena is going to be and it's going to be damaged. So I don't want my country to be damaged. I don't want my country to be messed. I don't want my country to become an arena of the geopolitical fights between geopolitical centers. I am for the cooperation with all of our foreign partners.
So did I understand you correct that balancing the relation to both parties is really important in your opinion?
Yeah, balance, but balancing in reality.
Mhm.
during the Pashinyan's governance, the amount of the portion of the exported goods to Russia in the GDP of Armenia has skyrocketed.
Mhm.
Who's the pro-Russian and the pro-European?
Mhm.
Uh, Armenia's economy is highly dependent on the Eurasian Union and, of course, as a main actor, Russia. I don't say that's it as a good fact or as a bad fact. Facts are never good or bad. Facts are just facts. So we do have to balance it. It's a hard region. We do have Iran, our neighbor, and very good. We do have a very good relations with Iran. You know what is happening with Iran at the moment. You know what is happening with the geopolitics between the West, between the US and Russia and Europe. So Armenia is not the state to become the arena of that. You have to balance. And make no mistakes, I do have my questions regarding the cooperation towards European Union, towards United States, towards Russia. But I addressed those questions during the meetings with my colleagues, the representatives of the parliaments of these respected countries. I don't speak about them to gain political bonuses. I always make this comparison when I'm in a quarrel or I do have a misunderstanding with my friend. I don't write a status on that on Facebook. I take a phone, call him, we meet and discuss the issues. Same story up here. If you have some misunderstandings with your strategic ally, with your partners, with your, I don't know, neighbors, you just have to call, meet, and discuss them, not try to gain political bonuses from that.
So thank you. Another question that accompanied the election campaign was that like sorry, the election campaign was accompanied by allegations of Russian interference as well as the arrest of several opposition figures. So how would you assess the current state of Armenian democracy, and what do you see as the main challenges to democratic development in Armenia
Well,
today?
the main challenge for the Armenian democracy is Nikol Pashinyan. At the moment, we do have enormous number of political prisoners. It's somewhere near 100. It used to be 50 before the start of the campaign. And please make no mistakes, it's not just the words of the oppositional MP. European People's Party has a resolution stating that Armen Ashotyan, who is the vice president of our party and previous participant of our meetings with the ICEUR, spent in jail more than a year. After that, he spent, well, 1.5 years. After that, he has spent half a year under the home arrest. And 2 days before elections, he got arrested again with some new ridiculous charge. The leader of the main oppositional bloc, Mr. Samvel Karapetyan, was arrested for, it soon will become 1 year. So when we speak about violations during the elections happen not only on the day of elections or during the count, they happen during the campaign and the time before that. You can find those in the OSCE preliminary report. It turns out that all the criminal charges were against the oppositional candidates. Just for you to understand the situation in our country, we do have a city in our country. It's called Tallinn. It has nothing to do with Estonian Tallinn. It's with one N, and it has a mayor who is the representative of the ruling party. Well, he gave out assistance, bonuses to the citizens of their city just before the elections. The investigative committee started an investigation, and they refused to start a formal investigation, stating, and I quote, while giving out bonuses and aids to the city's citizens, he was not acting as a candidate, he was acting as a mayor. That guy is a candidate, he's on the list, he is active member of the ruling party. Same story is with the mayor of Yerevan, who gave a photo camera to an orphan, which I have no problems with. But there is the same story with a representative of the main oppositional bloc, Ms. Mamijanyan, who gave a TV set to a 100-year-old veteran of the Second World War. And it was marked as bribing the voter. So again, I don't think the first one is a bribe, and I don't think the second one is a bribe as well, and not the camera and not the TV set. But why in case of Mayor of Yerevan there is no problem? In case of Ms. Kumashan, the oppositional representative, she got charges, she has some restrictions, etc., etc., etc. So that's the reality. The law enforcement, the judiciary, everything is dependent on Pashinyan's will, and is used to silence the opponents, and not only political opponents, bloggers, I don't know, activists, Armenian Apostolic Church, and so on.
Yes, despite this domestic interference or domestic challenges to
Sorry,
democracy.
I forgot about the foreign interference. I'm
Yeah.
very sorry. Well, the citizens of Republic of Armenia are the only people who have to decide who is going to rule in our country for the upcoming 5 years. Full stop. There is no discussion in that case. I will bring to your attention two facts. First, the ruling party is speaking about the foreign interference from Russia for, I don't know, something like half a year. During this time, Mr. Pashinyan has physically been to Moscow and met Mr. Putin, and there was not a single word about the foreign interference. Again, Mr. Alen Simonyan, the Speaker of the Parliament, went to Russia, went to Moscow, had a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, was asked direct question about the foreign interference from Russia, and didn't say anything about that. So it's up to you to decide if it's just a maneuver to gain more votes, or there's something. Plus, there was a BBC article a few months ago, not Izvestia article, not Pravda article, BBC article, that was stating the following, that there are very many examples of foreign interference from EU, from the United States. Well, you see, we had the honor to welcome Vice President J.D. Vance in February, and he endorsed Mr. Pashinyan. We had the privilege to host the European Political Community Congress in Yerevan 1 month prior to the elections, and Mr. Pashinyan got the endorsement from many European head of states, and you have this in very many reports written down. So again, it's up to you to decide if there is a foreign interference from any side or from many sides, or it's just a political maneuver to gain more votes by Mr. Pashinyan.
I was referring to Swedish news uncovering Russian strategy and also several reports. So I think there are several reports on Russian fake news, interference. But
yeah, the problem of fake news is a very big problem in Armenian politics. It is indeed, and I suffer from it personally very many times. But when we are speaking about fake news, there are a few mushroom websites and YouTube channels stating that Mr. Pashinyan is going to conquer the world, he's the greatest, etc., etc. But the problem is that those domains are registered to the the deputy head of staff of the government of Armenia, Mr. Taron Chahoyan. That's the reality in our country.
Yeah, I think fake news are probably
Yes,
going to
it's
continue influence all countries and all elections. So
expected.
yeah, maybe another issue that played a central role during the election campaign was the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. So I wondered, under what circumstances would a lasting peace with Azerbaijan be possible from your perspective? And also, what are your expectations for the upcoming meeting with Azerbaijan in Vienna?
Well, we'll see what will happen during those meetings in Vienna. I'm very grateful to the ICEUR for those meetings because each time I'm visiting Vienna for the last 2 or 3 years, I am hearing something new about the negotiation process from representatives of Azerbaijan. And I want to remind, I'm a member of the parliament, I'm a head of the political group, etc. So everything is kept in secret until it's announced. We learned that the negotiation process is over from Mr. Bayramov. We heard about the meetings with Turkish and Azerbaijani representatives from the Turkish and Azerbaijani media, and so on. So first of all, I'm gaining information from those meetings, and of course, it's a possibility to speak, to discuss the possible outcomes of the process. Speaking about the Nagorno-Karabakh issue, with all due respect to the President Trump and his initiative and all the efforts he has done, I'm grateful and thankful as a citizen of Armenia. But the problem is that there is no guarantee on that. There is no guarantee for that peace. Well, first of all, it's not signed, it's pre-signed. And the second is that Azerbaijan is continuing to make new demands, change of constitution, I don't know, etc., etc. And Pashinyan is continuing to fulfill them. What has Pashinyan done during these years is far more, far more than the goodwill. Well, I state it like that, just respecting the format. In Armenian politics, I'm much more harsh speaking about his relations and his foreign policy. You see, Azerbaijan is not a state with whom you can deal without a guarantor. We need a guarantee for the peace. It's always surprising me why in one part of Europe, whole the world is speaking that they need just and long-lasting peace. I'm in Ukraine. But in case for Armenia, another place in Europe, no one is speaking about justice. No one is speaking about long-lasting peace. No one is speaking about guarantees. Because trade relations are not a guarantee. One of the biggest conflicts happening at the moment between Russia and Ukraine comes to prove that. I don't think that there are many countries in the world that they are so interconnected, economically like Russia and Ukraine. Russia is the security guarantor for the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken, by one of the international treaties. So you need real guarantees on the ground to guarantee the peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan, is the first case. Second is the rights and freedoms of the people of Nagorno-Karabakh, Armenians of Artsakh. I'm not a dreamer. I'm not speaking about at this moment, but those rights are there for them. They do have a right to return to their homeland, and many others, getting into the right of self-determination, which is the highest one. But no one has canceled those rights. So when Mr. Pashinyan is saying that the issue of Nagorno-Karabakh is closed, I don't understand. Who is he to decide if 150,000 people have to fulfill their rights? Is he some sort of judge or some sort of, I don't know? Those people have rights and freedoms, and he is not the one who decides if they can abandon them or not.
So thank you very much for your questions. I have one final question for you.
Oh,
So very briefly, what is your vision for Armenia's future?
oh. I'm a proud citizen of my country. And I do believe that despite all the aggression from Azerbaijan, despite all the tyranny from by Mr. Pashinyan, we're going to have a great future. We do have everything for that. First of all, people. Second, the geographic place. And the third and most importantly, we have fought very much for the freedom, the independence. It is really hard to be the gatekeeper for the Christian world, and we are the gatekeeper for the Christian world. So I do believe that my country has a bright future with all its allies and partners, with the very important role of the Armenian Apostolic Church, because we are the first country that adopted Christianity as the state religion. So that's my understanding. You can frame it in the framework, I guess, of Christian democratic values. It will be easier for a European to understand what I've said if I frame it in the Christian democratic values. That's my belief for the future of Armenia.
Thank you very much for your time.